your piece? Okay.
Yeah, we met, Mona and I over the past few weeks, various department heads, went over their proposals, met with the Board of Ed, with Chuck. What Mona passed out is a condensed version, summary of the discussions we've had. Chuck, we haven't gone over yours yet.
Okay.
So, Mona, take it away.
So yes, just briefly, it's the same format as we have had last year, trying to go for the goal of the reserves. So you'll have in your handout, this first page is a high-level summary that shows you the reserves that we're trying for the different categories. Ideally, as we get into more detail, you'll find that you're going to perhaps want to increase the reserves that we put in for the 24-25 for goals such as not having road referendum money and so forth. There's a section that will look at the new items. We don't have a lot of new items that are coming in for the 25-26. At this point, we listed some grants as well, and then the fact that the road referendum is going to have its last year, we'll have that fully expended in this year, 24-25. So, and going on that same basis of doing reserves, I know we wanted to, if we don't mind, can we just jump ahead and go into the departments?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one kind of, Steve has to go soon. On that first line item, that was the structure for reserve. This year we put $450,000 aside. Again, road referendum is fully expended, so we're looking to possibly for the next few years gradually get that increase to a point that we can do our road improvements without bond sales. So if you want to just take it away from there,
Yeah, well,
do infrastructure.
So we talked about moving forward without the road referendum, we're talking like roughly $1 million a year with combined resources, whether that be car or, just in the budget. For this year, usually want to spring Hayes Road, sidewalk, the Hayes Road, and Washington Street sidewalks are going to be bid in spring, as well as a couple of these grant items. There's 11 grants shown here. Most of them are being run through them.
For clarification, we're on page 2.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying the grants, I don't think there's anything but one item that we're going to be looking for funds soon, and that's the SS4A with Weathersfield. That's a study with Weathersfield. The study is Addison Highway. We've already entered an agreement with them. It's $721,000 on that grant, and it's 20% match. Our share is at $31,240 because 20% is in Rocky Hill, 80% is in Weathersfield. So we'll be interviewing candidates next week. That'll be at consulting firms.
So that's $781,000.
Yeah, the 781 on the front, that's why I was kind of going at it, 781 on the front page. That's like the total, yeah. So that's the correct number. The farm, we want to try and keep it going. So we're looking at $50,000 a year, community gardens, other improvements that we're looking to do, whether it be adding electricity, adding the facilities, the bathrooms, and that type of thing. Franklin sidewalks, that's to complete some gaps that, kind of floating in there for 27 year. Beach Road culvert replacement. So we have received a grant to do the design, and that was for $200,000, $230 something? Yeah. It's like kind of 250. So we're working out the final details with or somebody, and we're trying to work out the final details, get the okay to go ahead and start interviewing candidate consultants to do the design, and then we'll have the design, and then we'll just need eventually to fund that somehow. download and
move
just
that
kept
ahead
spinning and
here
spinning and spinning.
On deadline,
So,
yeah.
because we had the deadline that they
I
keep
think
taking.
it was supposed to be 27.
Yeah.
Is that an in-ground tank?
The in-ground, we gotta be out, we gotta put 2 above ground.
Are they diesel, gas, or both?
Both.
Both, okay.
So we're gonna do 1 and 1. And originally it used to be at 10,000 and 6,000, now Joe's thinking you should go 10 and
Well,
10.
10 and 10.
And so I'm looking for an update on that, from, it's down there in Wallingford, United Concrete, has the con bolts. And I just haven't heard back from the guy down there, I left him a couple messages. Main Street sidewalks, that's
Pushed out.
we pushed out, we can keep pushing that out, that's been a few requests to get sidewalks to the new school, there, Mosher School, down Main from like Brook Street. Road repairs, as we talked about, that the referendum's running out, so we're gonna wanna fund that and keep it going. That's the whole presentation itself. And then, Public Works need assessment at the garages, you know, our garage is built, part of it, I think in the fifties, and the remainder in the eighties. And it doesn't meet a lot of, like, ADA and that kind of stuff, just one bathroom and, you know, linens combined. So to bring it up to some kind of current standard. So I had called a couple consultants to get pricing, and one said, oh, we can do it for under 100, the other one said 77,000, something like that. That included a lot of meetings and other stuff, because we can pare it down, make it a little more simplistic, and have them look at what we have and come up with some ideas, and then need assessment. And you gotta know what you gotta store in there, of course. And then, you know, we're going in the future, electric and all that, if there's gonna have to be that infrastructure eventually brought in. So,
Steve, just on that, I know the DOT is vacating the garage.
you're correct.
So have we approached the state on?
We have not.
Should we, is it
I,
too early?
we talked about, I talked about this, saying, you know, maybe we should talk to them. Yeah, it's a big facility.
That is.
Yeah, because you got that great, it would be a great spot. Because you have the garage, you have the big building too. I don't know if it's the building, that's another story, but, yeah. We have to see the roof, if we could raise the lower something. I don't know how high that ceiling is.
Well, it's used for their plow trucks, so I don't know if they go indoors or not, but.
I don't know if they put the plow trucks in there or not, because they have the garage down on Brook Street.
Yep.
So, but I did a co-op there, and I had been in that building. I just did, 30 years ago, I don't remember.
Okay, yeah, I know the property's
Yeah,
decent sized property.
well, it's good property, it's on the road, so we're not gonna be bothering people with starting trucks in the middle of the night or whatever.
Right.
It'd be a great spot.
Right, they hate to replace tanks, if we're gonna
Understood.
put them in another location.
I totally agree. It's a big tank up there.
Yeah, they can, but that's gotta be
Huge.
empty, yep.
Yeah. Now, if anybody's never seen one, they're probably 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and I don't know how long, 30, 40 feet long. It's big.
I mean, again, I don't know what it would cost
Yeah.
to get into that facility.
Well,
or-
and sometimes they might sell it for cheap to a town, you know? We haven't, well, I think you'd have to talk to somebody over there, you know, probably get the blessing from the town council first to talk to them, yeah?
You just gotta find the right person there to talk to.
Well, they have a real estate person,
Property manager.
I can call Pam, she's right there in the,
You know Pam?
yeah, she's right there in the
That'll
commissioner's
be-
office.
Give her, you can give her a call.
I can call Pam and start the process, yeah, because they were just awarded their postal permit for traffic in the last couple of weeks, and they don't plan on getting that rolling and complete till, I think, 26.
Yeah.
We don't have finals on that, we just have a
Right.
schematic plan,
Okay.
yeah, so. You got one, right?
And, yeah, so in the next sequence, we have the reserve for Parks and Rec. And again, we've been put in for this year 250, and I'm gonna let Phil and Craig talk a bit about their items. Just point out on that cover sheet, again, which is 4 facilities, but not in the reserve, was a request for 1 vehicle, for leasing 15,000 for 4 years. They just had this year one kind of fall off of the rolls. That was a van, so I think this may be a logical addition
still in good condition, we still can get parts, so we're gonna push it out to,
Yeah, we lost it, 29?
29.
Oh, yes. Oh, the leaders on the top.
Okay. Next one is the, Firehouse 1, 2, and 3, Bob and Key. Originally, I slated that to, be, in the plan individually at about like 20 grand a year. Looking at it, it's probably better to do it all at one lump sum, so it's 1 year. I increased it by 10 because those prices were kind of, on the late, not late side, but, early side, like 5 years ago. So, that's later for this year for 70 grand. Police roof repair. That, originally was for the membrane portion. Membrane portion is in good shape. When we do want to do it, we're probably going to do a liquid type. It's warranted 5 years at a time, so every 5 years they inspect and then carry the warranty for another 5, for almost half the cost. So, that is going to be covered under my building improvements because it's under 20 grand. And then, this particular roof repair is the shingle, aspect of the roof system. This year we found a lot of creases. So what's happening, water is getting in, causing the sheathing underneath to buckle. But, it's a 30-year shingle, but it's only been 20 years. So, got pricing on repairs. I could do the repairs for almost 4,000. So, the job itself for overall replacement is 78, so I pushed that out to, whatever year that is, 2027. So again, based on inspection, it may even be pushed out again.
So on the shingles, if they're a 30-year warranty, we got 20, they're isolated like that?
Yeah, that's not a 30-year warranty.
Oh, okay.
Well,
30-year
shingle,
warranty.
yes, but if the shingle has to go, right?
Okay.
This is being caused by the sheathing underneath, causing it to ripple. That's another cause, so it would, there you got you, yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah, we do try. But, town hall membrane roof replacement. So that's, town hall again has dual architectural tile and, PDM. And, we've been experiencing problems with 2 sections because they're in different sections of the building. And that, we got it under control for now. But that total cost in 28 is 90,000. And, library, air conditioning, the condensers, 2 2-ton and 2 12-ton. They were put in 2010. So by 2029, it's 20 years. Again, inspected, evaluated at that point, but, it's in their plan. So that's, for all 4, it's 80,000. And, town hall carpeting. So that, again, based on, inspection, it's, right now, we're at 23 years, so at 28, we're gonna be at, what, almost 25, 26, so, I mean, it's a long time for carpeting. Again, based on, evaluation, start the plan anyways, and, planting the seed as far as, the costs. So if we're gonna we'll do, floor at a time, so I believe the 120 is the first floor, and then, the 135 is the second floor. Okay.
Yeah,
Those are long,
there's
long,
no
yeah.
three, next line. Right
Okay.
column, wrong line.
And, oh yeah, okay, there you go. And, Firehouse 2 is in the process now, that's, this year's.
And then there is some money set aside for, this, softball field, but that's out in 2 years, and there's a good chance that we're not even gonna mess with that at this point, but allocate the money elsewhere. We do have some aging playground equipment in some of the parks that we'd like to, address. So, that's kind of where we're at as of now. Our department's done a good job of maintaining our fields and facilities. There is something that will be talked about I think in Ron and Chuck's presentation as far as capital improvement. There's some work that we need to get done to the pool, to the indoor pool with the boiler replacement, as well as going to a redundant pump system, but I'm sure Ron can touch on that a little bit. But that would come out of our CIP. So.
Craig, did your survey for the pool address potentially doing a pool, maybe sharing that with another town that doesn't have a pool?
No.
Would we consider that? To share the expense of increasing the number of users?
I suppose it's always a possibility, but, I mean, then we have users from out of town that do use the pool, but the majority of users at the pool are residents.
Right.
So,
Just at some point, we have to take a different approach towards things that,
yeah, I don't,
for everything, I don't know if the pool's the right one, but
I think our department does a good job of sharing services with other towns. We've loaned equipment out to other towns in need. We've used equipment, that's a good example. There's some other things that we do with other towns. Haven't really ventured down the path of sharing a pool, to be honest.
I know we have the mower that we share with a couple of towns.
Yeah, we do a good job collaborating with some of our local towns. I know Berlin, Newington, Weathersfield, Cromwell. The only town around us that really doesn't have a pool is Cromwell. So, but, they want a pool, they can move their rest, so. But no, you'll find, just so everyone knows, our survey too, it really laid out like 4 different options, and it was detailed in terms of an approximate cost, where the money would come from. There was a complete, blow up and redo of the pool, and it mentioned that it would have to go to referendum.
Yeah, it's very detailed.
It was detailed, and you guys will see it. It's pretty cool in terms of being able to view like what people want. So I'll definitely present that to you guys.
All right, thank you.
Unless there's anything on town, maybe, I'll go back to my little summary, the reserves, nationwide for vehicle. We got the $30,000, this year for electric vehicles, not sure if we want it to be a recurring item, so just for tonight, it's in as, in case we want to continue to grow a fund for electric vehicles. The green section there is where I am. The police generator, we put the grant out, still haven't heard, so, we've got it on order, so if the grant comes in, that'll be great. If not, as we discussed, it'll be, leased, and we're, kind of on standby to see how we respond. So, this being worst case scenario, grant doesn't, come through, those would be lease payments. Otherwise, on this page, we've got, grants, and I'm ready for Board of Ed. I have a section that's Board of Ed, and I know it's not as detailed as they have,
Yep.
so it's really not as detailed as what they have just earmarked for 2 major projects, but, that's, Chuck will let you.
Before I leave, it's kind of on this topic, I just want to throw this out at you that, CROG is doing a study, for drainage utility, they started drainage utility, I don't know if some of the funding might be in that for, the drainage infrastructure, but it's, it hasn't been set up, it's very much in its infancy, just something for your, back of your head, so.
One of the things we did ask too in our policy subcommittee is to make a recommendation to lawmakers to have some funding for drainage.
Yeah, so,
in addition.
that was like the one thing on that resiliency study we did, yeah, so. All right, well, thank you, I got to believe. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Who's presenting the combination? I'll just do a rough overview, and then Ron can get into the details. All right. So most of these projects you've seen before on our CIP. What we did from an overview standpoint, some of the larger projects, we did try to parse them out over a couple of years if possible, just to try to make the bottom line figure a little more even, I guess you could say, as we go through the years, and try to smooth that out as much as possible. So on the top one, the HVAC at Stevens, as you know, we've done some work there. It's quite a big dollar value project. So again, we have parsed that over a couple different years. We even have a gap in there just to, again, try to smooth things out. We have received a grant for the 24-25 year, so we're in the process now. And again, Ron can get into more detail, but we have our engineer taking a look at that, and we've given him the dollar figures to work with, so he's currently working on what the next phase will look like, and we'll get some feedback from Ron as we get into more detail. The next big project, I'm not going to go, is the West Hill roof. We've really gotten our money's worth and age out of that roof. It is starting to have some leaks in certain areas, so once those start, we just want to try to address that before it gets too bad. We definitely don't want to be faced with that. So we do have that in the 26-27 year, and again, we do have that phased in. When we do have a roof project, there is the possibility of doing it over multiple years. We do have to write a grant for each of those projects, but it is doable. So we put that over 2 years because of the cost.
Chuck, is a roof one of those reimbursable?
Yes.
So that's, was it 46?
44.
44, okay.
Yeah, it will vary depending on the year when we submit it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it's in that range.
So your number, is that the full number, or is that after reimbursement? How do you present the number?
Yeah, typically, we
Put the total in.
yeah, we put the total.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because they need to see commitment to total. and
Right,
then
right.
the-
Okay.
Yeah.
It just makes sense, because I think the way we've been doing it is when you get the money, we then put it into the next year's
Right.
phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm understanding the number.
Yeah. And then we have so those are the two big main projects that, from a school district standpoint, are pretty important for us to get accomplished. But we have phased those out over multiple years. In the out years, we have doors and windows over at Stevens. That's in the 29-30 year. We don't have a firm estimate from any firm or anything. That's just the best guesstimate at that point in time, but it's out there, so we have time to get firm that up. Kindergarten classrooms, it's to renovate and upgrade those at Stevens. And again, that's in the 28 and 29 years, so it's out there a little bit, not too far. It always comes pretty quick. Some classroom space over at West Hill, enclosing the library and art room, and it's basically just to enhance the teaching space. And again, in the out year, when we did the roof at GMS, we did get a cost estimate to actually take out or take down the canopy or redo that. And just because of the cost, we decided
of a conversation, with, Dr. Zito, myself, Ray and Mona, just, because some of the, that's used both by the town as well as, our students. So, we took a look at that, we took a look at, some of the pool things that were mentioned, and we just decided to break it up and put the tennis courts in our CIP and, put some of the pool infrastructure in the towns, just to break that up a little bit. And again, I'll let Ron get into some of the detail, but that, and then it's just, furniture, our classroom furniture is really getting to the point where we need to start addressing it. It's been in our CIP and it's just gotten, we have other priorities, so we haven't done much with it, but it's getting to the point where we need to either put it in our capital or, I think it does for the dollar value belong in CIP, but we do need to start addressing that. So with that, Ron, do you want to get into some details, or do you just want to take questions and go from there?
I can go into some of the details, especially, with the bigger projects.
Sure.
So we'll start with the HVAC at Stevens. We're in the process of designing a phase for the upcoming summer. I actually had to change directions on that because I had a pretty significant failure in the gym for heating equipment. And I'm making a pretty large repair, but that has to get done before anything else at this point. So we're sort of shifting gears. It was always part of the project, just where it fell, but now it's mandatory that I move forward with that instead. And we're also getting to a point, the reason we have such a large numbers, we're starting to run out of areas that we can actually do in smaller chunks. They're just too large to piece out, and, bigger systems have to work together. I can't just do room by room or anything like that, so, we're able to do so in the first wing, but we're starting to get complicated designs now, so use, it'll ramp down, it just does a minimal flow, so we'll save on some energy in that respect too, so. And honestly, that's not as important as the boilers need to be done first, so.
Why is there 100,000 in 2025 on the big sheet, on the small sheet, for the West Hill roof?
That was for design.
Isn't
Yep, that was,
So
that's for design costs.
I can't see the numbers here.
Hey, welcome
We
to
don't need
the
to,
club.
we don't have it on this one then.
Well,
It's already in this, the 24.
yeah, it's already in the.
That first column with all the detail is actually the 24, 25 requests. They had 1.4 million that they had wanted, we put 600,000 in the reserve, so they were able to use at least the 600,000 to address that.
Right.
And maybe, I don't know if you want to touch, but you can see some of the items that when we gave them that reserve for the 600,000, what has happened is it just, you're seeing it on Chuck's larger one sheet, just getting shifted out is not addressed, like the McVicker bleachers, that one moves forward. We're lucky with that HVAC for Stevens, that's, that we're not gonna absorb it in the 600, it gets shifted out. And
Right.
and I'm gonna take advantage and say that's the segue, which is, when the need was the 1.4 and we did a reserve of 6, we're just watching us kick down, the can down the road. And I'm hoping that when we do CIP for the budget this year, that, I know I put in my little sheet that I'd like to at least see it go up to the million, but as you can see what Chuck and Ron's doing, that even then, it's not addressing the needs. So some of these, even if we put the million, it's going to kick it down the road, so
Okay.
kind of keeping the
Yeah,
hand
kick it
in,
out.
and, right.
And we kind of bring it to the budget piece. I
Yeah.
think what we have to do on both sides of the budget is, everybody presents what they want. And we got to put it in a priority list, like a 1 through 5. And, normally I say 1 to 3, but I think it's more.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I'm using the example, maybe it makes more sense to do the roof in year 1 and push the tennis court out, because there's a cost savings to doing it at once. That's your decision, but the dollars come out differently. So you got to prioritize, is the roof more important than the tennis court?
Yeah.
It's not a decision, actually, it's a council on the Board of Ed, we just put a dollar number.
Right.
But at least it helps us understand the budget. On the town side, where we actually do get involved, the van that you need at 15, okay, it's 23 years old, it makes sense. Maybe that's got to be a top priority over who knows what else. But otherwise, we're looking at a kind of a very large document.
Yep.
And we're deciding what a priority is based on dollars, not need. So I'd like to shift it as much as we can to some of the priority.
This was the priority that we discussed, but now we have to hone it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Board of Ed did look at ours, from our prior, it's a combination of priority and trying to smooth out the dollars as much as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, budgeting is not perfect.
Right.
Nobody's happy at the end,
Right.
regardless.
Yeah, right.
And of course, taxpayers won't be happy if we have this giant increase.
Right.
And if you look at the actual activities that we're looking, that we just went through, there are not a lot of things that are being done because of the prices so high now, construction materials. It's just prohibiting us doing what there are many other things that we should be doing, but we just
wondering why I was going out there,
Yeah.
because it's three, okay.
Right, so,
That's what I would want to
and
clarify.
we would start with, GMS is in the worst shape. The furniture's, it's getting bad.
Middle schools also are tough on.
I mean, we're talking, that furniture's been there since the three additions were put on in '94.
Yeah, my kids are using it.
Yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
and it's not even, change furniture as, teaching changes too, and we haven't done that. I mean, we're more collaborative now, we don't have collaborative, we have the old one-armed bandits, you can't collaborate, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of reasons, but it's definitely time. I did buy some, well, it was for kindergarten at the time, during COVID, because kindergartners actually, they're taught at tables for the most part. But during COVID, we had to separate them, so I bought that, and then once COVID was done, we shifted that furniture to first grade. That was, but, now we have other grades that have to be done as well, so.
And I have to just give credit to my software, so as you may or may have not have noticed last year on our CIP, but the next level is when you do the budget, is to show the priority list, what we've
Okay.
done. But I think our priority list last year exceeded what we funded, but I will just do the same, and it's got kind of question and answers. Is this health and safety related, is it, and it's scored accordingly, so.
Right.
Yeah, when we get ready.
Things like the roof,
You'll
you
get
don't
to see that.
create
Uh-huh.
other damage, and then the bill goes up.
Right.
So that's the way we have to, right.
What's nice is we've done a lot of great projects since, the 10 years I've been here. We're in the final stretch of the big ones, and then we're gonna, it's gonna be smaller, but it's been quite the run-up to get to this point.
Right, it's working well.
Yeah, it's maintenance.
So, and it keeps costs down, right. Agreed. All right, any other items on, Board of Ed questions, I guess?
For a special meeting there to review the priorities, or keep going until budget time.
Well, we need more to be made.
Yeah, I was just,
So we're gonna probably need a special meeting.
yeah, we do have one,
Special meeting.
I was just opening up, I don't have the dates in front of me. Just looking for the dates.
March.
Is it March? Yeah, maybe too late. Yeah, so
Maybe
we'll probably,
too late.
yeah, we'll probably have to do a special meeting to kind of go through the priority list. Yeah, we could schedule something once we have it put together. Yeah.
Either late January, early
Yep.
February, because I try to get everything back in by mid-February.
Right. You're done January?
January, we present to the board,
Okay.
end of January.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Any other questions on